I know that people say that bullying is bad and making fun of people is horrible, and I 100% agree with those statements. Bullying and making fun of people is not cool and shouldn't be something that anyone partakes in, unless you're doing it for a good cause. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, a few days ago, I made a video in regards to the creators of the Watcher YouTube channel making a horrible decision to move their content over to move their YouTube content over to a subscription service, and then charging their subscribers $6 a month to access their content. They uploaded the video of them saying how they were leaving YouTube on the 19th of this month, and ever since then they have been getting roasted alive. I mean, if we were back in the 1600s, they would have gotten burned at the stake and accused of being witches for making such horrible a terrible decision like that. Now, since then, it appears that all of the negative press they were getting online and all of the backlash finally blew up their resolve, and they decided to come back to YouTube and give an update, or better yet, an apology for their mistakes. Take a look.
Hey everyone, last Friday we announced that we're leaving YouTube and launching our new streaming platform.
We messed up. A lot of you spoke out with extremely valid comments and concerns, and we want to take the time now to address those.
We've been reading the things you've been saying, and we're sorry for the way we handled this, as well as the way we communicated it. We understand where you're coming from, and we're making immediate changes.
First, we want to affirm that you are the reason why we've been able to do anything at this company. You helped us every step of the way when we left BuzzFeed to start Watcher at the top of the pandemic in 2020.
You've supported us in so many ways by watching our content, attending our live shows, buying our merch, becoming members of our Patreon, and giving words of encouragement over the years. And we are incredibly grateful for your support.
We're sorry for how we originally delivered our goodbye message to YouTube. It was insensitive. We didn't properly express how much we appreciate all of you, and we did a really bad job of explaining the reasoning behind this transition.
We also want to deeply apologize for our ignorance around the impact of the cost. We regret stating and implying that it's a price that anybody can afford, and we fully acknowledge that it is not. We didn't take the proper consideration for how this cost would affect you, and hope you know that we are taking this as a serious learning experience.
Now, right off the bat, I will say that in my years of seeing some of the worst apology videos from YouTubers after they did something stupid, this is honestly an apology that I actually believe. Right away, within the first 20 seconds of the video, you get a "we messed up" and "I'm sorry." That's amazingly fast for a YouTuber apology video. Normally, you have to sift through the entire video. It normally is around 8 to 10 minute video just to get to any semblance of guilt or even the slightest hint of an "I'm sorry." And it's normally filled to the brim with worthless nonsense just so they can fill out the video for the mid-roll ads. So the fact that this is a 3-minute video means they got right to the point, and I have to give them kudos for that.
We're making some changes to ensure that there's a way for our community to continue watching our content for free.
If you want to watch our shows early and ad-free, you can catch them on the Watcher platform a month earlier. After that, you'll be able to watch our shows on YouTube for free. For those that have already subscribed to the platform, we are so grateful for your support. But if this change has you rethinking your membership, we will issue a full refund. And all past episodes and series will remain available on YouTube.
Now, this is an idea that I feel is pretty good considering everything that took place with their previous video, but it leaves me with more questions. Since they already had a Patreon, why not just put your content on there and then release the content on YouTube later? That way it would incentivize people to go over to the Patreon because they would get more content from you and even more bonus content that they wouldn't have gotten on YouTube anyway. That's how most people do the Patreon setups, and it works for you. It works for them. For you guys to set up a $6 a month streaming service on top of the Patreon, along with wanting them to buy merch and all of that, that is pretty hefty for anyone to pay. I wouldn't even do that for Netflix, let alone a YouTube channel. But just like I stated in my last video, this whole idea seemed pretty greedy to me, just from my perspective, because of the fact that they had a pretty successful Patreon already. and it's actually grown, by the way. Before they had around 12,000 members. Now they have well over 13,000 members on Patreon, and get this, their highest paid member tier is $100 a month. Damn, that's a lot of Sonic the Hedgehog coins right there, and that is obviously for their most loyal and faithful members. But damn, that's a lot of money a month. That's damn near a cable bill. Now, as I said before, a lot of people were asking the question, you know, why do this? And this is what they had to say.
Question of why we decided to launch our own platform. When we started Watcher in 2020, we wanted to create shows that we were proud of, that we had ownership over, and that would provide you the caliber of content that we felt you deserved. However, we were finding it harder and harder to stay relevant to advertisers and the constantly changing YouTube landscape. We faced some incredibly challenging decisions. We didn't want to compromise our content to ensure they met advertising requirements, and we definitely did not want to lay people off that have brought Watcher to life behind the scenes. And we didn't want to bring Watcher to a close, which would have happened if we stayed solely on YouTube.
That's why we decided to launch the platform, so that we as a company could continue. We could pay our staff fairly and not only continue to make great content for you, but expand with new shows, new voices, all ad-free. And now with the addition of accessible options, this is a decision that we all believe is the best for Watcher.
However, we realized that in figuring out the logistics of what this might take, we overlooked the way it would impact all of you. We hope you'll be patient with us through these mistakes, and we remain incredibly sorry that they were made in the first place.
We also want to directly address our Patreon community, who have played such a key role in supporting us from the very beginning. All current Patreon members will receive a free subscription code to the platform. If you already purchased a subscription, please contact us and we will issue you a full refund.
Now again, they keep bringing up this lack of money thing, right? And that they had to make the decision because they didn't want to lay people off, and basically trying to make it seem as if they were struggling financially. Now, they did mention other things such as trying to stay relevant in the YouTube landscape and trying to stay advertiser friendly and all of that. And, you know, I'll get to that in a minute, but I want to drive home the fact that they did touch on a few things that are very lucrative for them for a channel of their size. And that is buying their merchandise, going to live shows, and obviously subscribing to the Patreon for the monthly fee. I just told you that the highest monthly tier on their platform is $100 a month that people are paying for, obviously. So let's just say 3,000 people are paying that $100 fee out of the now 13,000 members on the Patreon. That's $300,000 a month just from that tier of paid members alone. Not even counting the lower paid tiers, like the merch, the live shows, attendance are all huge money makers, money drivers, as well as just the regular YouTube ad revenue that they accrue just from people watching their videos for free. And not to mention the brand deals that pay them handsomely, right? These brands pay them a lot of money in order to be in their content. All of those revenue streams are insanely lucrative and leads me to want to know why in the hell did they really want to start this subscription service in the first place? For $6 a month, like, I need the real reason here, because that just doesn't make any sense. Like, I'm left with nothing here, right? I got nothing. Now, they did speak about advertisers and brands and trying to stay relevant to advertisers. And that also kind of confused me, because most of their videos have brand deals in them or sponsor content from brands. And like I said in my previous video about this, those deals are very, very lucrative. All right. I'm gonna sound like a broken record with this, but I just need y'all to understand that there's a lot of money to be made with brand deals like that, especially with channels of their size. 2 million, 3 million subscribers. Like, come on, man. It's a lot of money. So if most of your videos have sponsored content in them, along with all of these other means of income you guys have, I'm still left here at square one asking why. Because all these brands give a shit about are your metrics, analytics, as well as your engagement and, you know, all that. And the Watcher channel checks off all the boxes. They ace the damn test with flying colors. And one of the reasons why brands love working with them is also because of the fact that they tailor make all of their sponsored ads in their videos, like skits and and they make the ads very cool to sit through. So a lot of the audience actually watches the ads in their videos from the sponsors because they make them so entertaining. And this is something brands love, because most people, let's just keep it 100, most people just skip right through the sponsored part of the videos. Now, I'm willing to bet there isn't a brand alive that doesn't want to work with Watcher just for this alone. And the other thing they mentioned was about the YouTube landscape, trying to adjust to how it always changes. And I get this part. I mean, YouTube is constantly changing things. They're always tweaking and adjusting their algorithm. And it's like a game of Where's Waldo when trying to find out what the algorithm likes. But to say, hey, we don't understand this YouTube shit anymore, so fuck this, we're moving to our own streaming service, and oh, by the way, it'll be $6 a month. How do you want that taken? Cash or card? That's just a recipe for disaster, and absolutely obliterates your brand. And I'm sure they figured that out at this point. It's just a very tough sell to have people go to another site that they're unfamiliar with, fork over $6 a month to watch content over there that you can just give them for free and continue to grow on YouTube, which means that you will continually make more money through ad revenue. Obviously, the more people that watch, the more money you ultimately make, right? While also growing your community, which would then mean that there would be more people who would possibly join the Patreon, which would obviously mean more money on Patreon, and just continue the cycle. But to just throw in the towel and say, fuck you, pay me to your audience, just don't sit right with anyone. Now, they still do have the $6 a month streaming service, but as you heard, they're basically going to release their content on the Patreon, on the site a month early, and then put it on YouTube later. And the reason why they still have the streaming service available is probably because people have already paid for it. And it's a service that I know they already put a lot of time, effort, and resources behind. So they can't just abandon ship and leave. But to me, it's still unnecessary to have that. And just another way to bleed their audience dry of a little extra morsels of coinage here, which is crazy because I know without a shadow of a doubt that they are bringing in well over six figures as a brand, And to say that you almost had to lay people off and that you're struggling as a channel, basically it's just nonsensical to me because it's just not true. I'm just going to jump out the window and say that, it's just not true. Now, obviously I'm not in their everyday day-to-day activities in their headquarters, but just by using common sense and by being a YouTuber myself, I know how this works. They got money, point blank. They have money. Now, the only way this makes sense is if there is some serious mismanaging of funds on their end. And if that's the case, just be upfront and say that. But anyway, that's all I have to say on the matter. And the only opinion that really matters on this topic is their audience. And from what I've seen, they're pretty happy with this change and it makes sense to them. So I think that this apology was a good one, especially since most YouTubers just use apology videos as an extra cash grab and don't really take it seriously. But from what I've seen watching this video, it appears that they are genuinely sorry about this. And so I guess that's half the battle. But other than that, that's it for me on this one. I know a lot of you guys want to know, my thoughts on it. If you made it to this point, feel free to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe for the one time. And yeah, man, that's it. Peace, y'all.